So, I do kind of have to apologize, because as you guys probably have seen on the channel, there hasn't been a video in a really long while. And unfortunately, the same reason before is the same reason as now. Is because of the fact that this game has just absolutely taken over my life. Hey guys, Endoplasmite here. We're here with another episode of Pokemon Pokopia. Or just Pokopia, or Endoplasmite plays Pokopia. Pokopia, I don't know. So, when I say that this game has taken over my life, I mean that seriously. I've spent over 115 hours on this game. Yeah, 115 hours. 3 Switch 2 games, and this one has hit triple digits. So, I figure it's about time to actually explain or showcase what all has been happening, as for why I've spent so much time on this game. Now, this video is going to be like every other Pokemon Pokopia video, and it's going to be very controversial. The reason why I say that is because everyone seems to be entitled to their own opinion on how this game should be played. And the reality is, this game is to be played the same exact way, for me at least, as it was for any other Pokemon game that I'm playing on this channel. I should be allowed to play this game however I see fit. Just like everyone else should be allowed to play their games however they see fit. So, moving on to the very beginning process, there's not as much that's done here as one may assume, as there's things that are kind of spread around. Still haven't fully hit the point yet of trying to get everything neat and tidy, and everybody's got their own individual houses. But there are a couple people, well, not people, a couple Pokemon that do have sets of houses that are going on. I do plan to give a bunch of houses to the Pokemon that are living in each of the 5 areas, because that includes Plasmite Paradise, which is the name that I titled the Pallet Town. There is a Pokemart that I'm still in the process of trying to work through and build. When I first started playing this as well, before I migrated everything to Pallet Town, this actually was the main home base. And that main home base was the main operation for me storing all my items. You will see later on what actually happened from all that, once we get to Plasmite Paradise. And on this case, there's a house on top of the house, or house on top of the warehouse. Environment level has hit its max, even though there's still opportunity for the Pokemon here to have better lives. And yes, you did see that correctly. I already do have an Entei and a Suicune. Right now, temporarily, I have them positioned just like I kind of had Sableye and Cubone positioned in this house here. I do have plans to shift them to specific biomes, but that's a little bit further down the line. Onyx is put in this place. I had to give him a giant door because any other size door and it wouldn't be able to get out. So there hasn't really been too much that's been done in this area either. Not yet, at least. Once I plan to shift some stuff around housing-wise, I should be able to put some physical houses this way. As it stands right now for the mural, or should I say, mural, haha, because I kind of figured that that's what's going to be just based on how it looks. This is what I've got for the letters. I'm missing 12. So I at least have more than half. It's a pretty good process. Just more than 12. I am intentionally waiting to activate the Magnet Rise ability, which I did finally get, just until I actually get to the point of showing Magnemite's location. And I still have perfect opportunities to go through and do some more with that. Can at least do this, though. completed enough also for Professor Tangrove to officially be moved out of this base of operation. Meaning I can play around with this later on in the same boat of playing around and doing other stuff. And I know that I've already showcased rollout before, I'm pretty sure, but I'm holding off on using rollout for now, just because I want to take the time to physically show you guys everything that's going on. So, we officially do have Magnemite, and after completing all the quests regarding this, which I'll leave at that just in case people don't already know, I can fly around like this. So this was just at least to try to get power to go down that way, which we'll talk about the power situation later. There is, of course, more opportunity to do some more drastic things in this area, but haven't really done so. That's not really the major points of all the work. Time to go to Bleak Beach. So, Bleak Beach and Rocky Ridges have about the same amount of playtime in them in terms of stuff that's been done. Even so, it's still not perfected, and it never technically will be perfected. I did go through the process of adding huts, which I know that they don't match up to the environment. That's fine. Remember the ruling on this. People playing this game are allowed to play this game however they enjoy it. That is the whole purpose of this game. All of this has been nice and tidied up, cleaned up, and once again, I have plans later on for this. Something else that's also been tidied up, which is a bit of the time process, was the pathway. Now, obviously, I didn't just randomly break the blocks and then set the blocks. I did use the whole replacement function with Magnemite for magnet rise. Just like with every other area, all the habitats right now are just kind of congregated in together until I get a better idea on how I want to handle the housing situations. Because I mean, in the houses you can fit 4 Pokemon, but let's be honest, that's really not a lot of space for a house that small. Of course it's a hut, but you get what I mean. Now, a house this big, I'd say is comfortable enough for 2 Pokemon, so that would make sense to do that. I'll cover... Actually, you know what? I'll show this real quick. No idea what I'm going to do with this at this point yet, but I just made it like a nice little cave underground. Environment level for this area is only level 7. Same boat, there's obviously more opportunities to help get Pokemon better homes. Once I get all those situated though, obviously that's going to be much higher of a level. I did add some additional pathings, both here and there, just to make things easier to kind of navigate on foot. I know this is an area where they kind of want to emphasize swimming, but, you know, I just want to play this game how I want to play this game. Right now, this is where my home is for this area. This is probably going to change later on. We'll see. And I did add this whole giant platform just to make things a little bit easier to navigate. I know, once again, there's this whole pathway that's here, but even so, that pathway just kind of stops there. So, again, just making paths. The SS Anne Ruins will be a fun topic of conversation as well. So Smeargle's still out here. Still have no plans quite yet as to what I want to do with this. Also, I know there was that patch of broken ground. The intention on all of this is literally just to fly around, walk around, just to show you guys all this. I did make this the main operation for Blaziken as well. And same boat as other places, I do plan to take these spaces, tidy them up later on, make them look nice. Now, some of the time constraints of why it was 115 hours and it doesn't look like much was done was I have a bad habit with games that are like this that involve collecting items, where I'm a giant kleptomaniac. I do have to ease up on some of it at this point, but I also wanted to tidy certain areas up in the process of being a kleptomaniac to make things easier to kind of navigate, which did involve going through and removing a lot of stuff on the inside here. Not everything, just a lot. And this will be a good opportunity to do this. I took the beach that was here before, flattened it, and expanded it, and then filled it all with shallow water. So now the SS Anne is sitting on a nice little sandbar, which, again, I have plans for doing certain things with later on. There's probably also a topic of conversation of why all this is going on behind the scenes versus me trying to just record the footage and then upload it. Here's the thing about this. I need topics of conversation while I would be working on something like this, and to be quite frank for how exhausted I've been also with my job, because keeping in mind, while I'm doing this small, tiny hobby, I'm still working a full-time job. So it's kind of hard to balance everything that's going on. Because of that, too, it's probably a lot easier for me to work on videos and get better attention on videos that are structured like this, rather than videos of what you guys are probably wanting. Well, some people might want, where I'm physically doing all this live on camera. I'm probably better off doing it as a live stream, but I'm not going to mess with live streams anymore. It's its own case of zapping the fun out of things a little bit. I may further down the road, but again, this channel is meant to be laid back and a take it easy channel. Not a channel of me going around and trying to grind. Will I ever see growth on this channel that way? Probably not. But the purpose of this channel was never really to get a whole lot of growth to begin with. The purpose of this channel was just to have fun and just isolate all Pokemon related content to here. That was the purpose. Pardon me a moment. Also, something that I figured out, don't know if other people figured out this either. If they did, cool. If not, here's something that I didn't realize until late. As Magnemite using Magnet Rise, you can actually eat. So it makes it easier just to navigate around and recover if you need to recover. Wish I knew that long ago, because I kept having to pretty much, I wouldn't say unmorph. Revert back to my original form. That's a good way of putting it. I got no idea what I want to do over here. But I know whatever I do over here, I still have to make a connection between here and here. I want to make it so it's able to be easily crossed on foot. whole underwater tunnel system that's over that way, I still have no idea quite what I want to do on that yet. I did already collect this here, so don't worry on that factor. I did strip some things in the lighthouse, but I was trying to make things easier for the lighting quest. And there's not really a lot that's been done here at all. Same boat though, do have plans later on. I just gotta get to that point. So, I'm gonna take the long way around to get the rocky ridges just for the effect of things. Now, pardon me a moment, I'm gonna have to be very cliche and YouTuber-y. Well, YouTuber. Act like a YouTuber, the generic YouTuber. If you guys like what you're seeing on this video, please be sure to hit like and subscribe. I will be doing more videos of Pokopia in the future. Please leave a comment also of things you want to see me do in this channel as well. You know the voice I had to do on that? Yeah, it was to prove a point. Little annoying. Now, Rocky Ridges has a little bit of a unique twist on things. And part of what I mean on that is, like I was saying earlier, this is about the same amount of playtime as it was with Bleak Beach. But you might already see part of the reason why things have been taking so much time. And that is, I've been doing something that is kind of considered, well, to some people, unnecessary. But to me, in general, I'm very fond of the idea. Because it'll make things easier to do when I expand outwards. I've been trying to go through, very meticulously, and clear out a lot of the volcanic ash. It is time-consuming. It is very time-consuming. And it's very unnecessary. But I kind of feel like the maps, which I did go through and kind of almost visualize all the maps that could be present. I think the map on this would be a little bit nicer looking if I did go through and get rid of as much of this volcanic ash as possible. A lot less black and gray and more specifically colored. Look out below. So this has the same principle as everything else going on. All the habitats are kind of congregated in the center section until the time comes through where I want to try to expand on the housing situations. Now, I'm going to switch over to rollout mode. This path never got finished yet, but I wanted to kind of make a path going outwards and then upwards. Why? Why not? We're allowed to play this game however we want to play this game. Right? This path kind of runs normally. I might skip some of the big details on it, but there really isn't much that's been done at all. I did go through the process of getting both roly-coly and charcoal here, but that's kind of it. I haven't really had too many ideas yet on what to do. And I mean, if the idea that comes to mind is trying to go through and connect the train station all the way to the museum, for those who haven't known about the museum part yet. The thing is, I already did that. Twice, actually. But the cart's all the way down at the very end. So I built a straight across path because I realized this was bringing right to the museum. this one connects all the way down here. Just like I was saying before about wanting to get rid of the volcanic ash in the area, that is exactly what I did for the museum. Now I know there are some overhangs of ash that's over here. I will obviously try to get rid of those later on. It is a very time-consuming process. And the situation's not 100% perfect, but I think you get the picture. I did clean out the museum. Mostly cleaned out. With some minor exceptions. Now, if you guys are noticing some weird cuts as I'm going through this process, there's two different things that are happening behind the scenes. One of which is the fact that I have to be keeping an eye on both the cats in the house. One's not a problem, the other one's a bit more. I did connect the railway in this system at least. Not to divert the conversation, but I did. And this exits over here. But at the same time as well, I also have instances where I don't really have a topic of conversation. And you guys know how I feel about trying to keep things very boring for you guys. I'm not a fan of that idea. So, if the silence can be mitigated by me cutting out in the video a small bit, then I will do it. And there's a reason I'm going backwards, because something else that I did here was I made another tunnel. I think this leads out to an underground... Oh, yeah. Because I needed gold. And technically where this ends underground kind of feels like a dead end anyways. So I figured, why keep it a dead end? Why don't I just take this pathway and just expand it out? Bring me back to civilization. Okay. Gotta restore some power points real quick. Some PP, some... You get the picture. Because now we're gonna go to Sparkling Skylands, where another one of my controversial situations have occurred. So, I wasn't kidding on the statement that I was saying that Sparkling Skylands is probably going to have the most controversy in it. There are, of course, some areas that I did not go through fully and clean out, like stuff on this I'd actually technically clean out. Because, let's be honest, these aren't connected to anything, the light poles not getting power, so on and so forth. See part of the situation actually in the distance. You can actually see both of them if you see carefully. So, just like other stuff, I have been trying to go through, and I forgot to check the environment level of Rocket Ridge. I apologize for the hard cut. But I did want to at least show you this. So, environment level for Rocky Ridges is 8. Same boat. Some Pokemon could have better environment stuff, but that will change later on once I get the housing situation resolved. And the environment level here dropped. The only reason why it dropped in this instance is because I kind of took a Pokemon out. I'll explain the situation on that later. Also, the amount of Pokemon that don't have homes, but the reality is, it's not that they don't have homes. Their homes exist. I just had to move them. So, I'm gonna solve this problem real quick. Give me a moment. I'll fix the situation on that later, in all honesty. Because it should be something that should be easy for me to fix. Now there's the other entranceway. Nothing was done on that. I'm gonna try to avoid spoiling it until we hit the point on it. But if you notice on here, Tinkaton's home is gone. Just because the amount of wares that were over there could be used for something else, and I have other plans later on. Speaking of other plans, about the 3 legendary birds that you saw on the map, well, the environment level, I mean. I made them live on floating islands. It's not 100% done though, because there's still some of the stuff regarding the dirt underneath and the fact of me wanting to use the mysterious blocks around the houses too. So that's the process on that. I'll be coming back to that later. In reality, nothing really was done here yet. This would be a perfect opportunity for me to go through and just demolish all the stuff that's here and replace it with something else. It just hasn't reached that point quite yet. Speaking of demolishing, no, I won't go through to demolish this. This is a pain in the butt in the missions to do. This is as big as it is. It's not worth me trying to destroy. So, no one has to worry about that situation at all. But I did take Gardevoir and make their home here. I do have plans to also make homes for other Pokemon in the area here. But we'll come across that point later. And just like other stuff, this area doesn't really have much done either. I think Sparkling Skylands is the area that I've done the least amount of stuff in. Just because it's kind of one of those... I don't know where to begin, really, on things. But I did at least keep Gyarados in the area. I probably will. Now, I know there's a question that's coming to mind then. Why are there so many Pokemon missing? Why are there so many Pokemon that are also in areas that probably normally wouldn't find them? In some cases. When we get to Plasmite Paradise, you'll see the reason why. And this area, just like the other areas, I haven't really done too much on. I mean, Poliwrath is still here. But, yeah. Nothing really done on that front. Now, I will try to fix the whole housing situation here behind the scenes. Like the Pokemon that are completely missing homes. So don't worry about that at all. So now for the final main reveal. The main places that I started each of these episodes, which this is episode 2 so far. And the main place where a lot of my time is spent, especially since it's the hub for essentially all the extra items that exist. I don't even fully remember what I had last time I did this. So the intention on this is very simple. There are a lot of Pokemon that exist in this game. And there's a lot of Pokemon, and I don't think there's really too many Pokemon I don't like. But there's a lot of Pokemon I like more than the others. Those are the ones that are officially on this island. I might have said that last episode. I don't know. Larvitar's house is gone. And it's technically Larvitar's fault. Because Larvitar wanted a fancier house. So, it's got a fancier house. I did go through the process of having to use the 3D printer to expand out some of the trees. The Rost Berry seems to be the main berry tree that I get as the tree for this file. Chesto and Aspire Berries, however, I did find the tree seeds. I think. It was either the seeds I found or the actual tree that I found. I don't remember. But the Pecha berry and the Lum berry, I actually had to go to the developer's island in order to take screenshots of. My vegetables are also in this area. A lot of the work in this area was also because of the fact of a lot of the land that I had to terraform completely. And I also wanted to do some unique things to this environment. Some of the unique things are still not quite done yet, but even so. These two houses are the most recent developments, some of the most recent developments, and all the main blocks that are just known as regular blocks are here. Versus all the blocks that are specifically labeled as road blocks will be all here. This one's obviously not set to go yet. The central area became a gigantic hub, not only for crafting, but also for power generation. So this all connects downwards with the wireless transmitters, which I did manage to find, thanks to the help of one of the Pokemon that I actually did need to get on this island anyways. Porygon. All the evolutions are still on this island. They all have houses that are over here. I do need to get Eevee to move into this one though. But essentially each one of these houses has 2 evolutions, and it scales downwards based on the likes of myself and my girlfriend. So Umbreon's mine, Jolteon's mine, Glaceon is mine, and I think Flareon was mine. Yeah, Flareon was mine. She has the other 4. This building might have been here before, but this is essentially the main hub for all the main sets of items. So each one of these chests has different types of stuff, like this is all the crop-based stuff, plants. These are all the relaxations, these are all the toys, these are all decorations. I still have no idea what to do on this floor though. Then I have the stuff to get both of these bells made, but I just haven't actually gotten the encounter. If you also notice, this has definitely changed landscape-wise too. So I did keep the interior of this mostly intact, so it's still ice on the inside. Not sure what to do with that later on, but we'll figure that out later. However, what changed up is the bulk of the mountain. Actually, I'll take the fun route. Look out below. Inside here has all the different liquids. So all I would need to do is just come to the spot where the liquid is and just inhale it like that. And that's about it, actually. Because I haven't even touched these 2 areas for good purpose, because those are future video ideas. Yes, I do actually have ideas for stuff to do for the channel on this. I do plan to fix the housing situation on this so that the Pokemon here actually have houses. And unfortunately, they're going to be houses, not habitat houses or these little huts, which is where the bulk of the other Pokemon that I have are currently living until I get the housing situation resolved. Finally, we have a house that's another video. I will leave that up like that for now. So, that is the adventures of what's been happening in my time with playing Pokopia. Oh, before I forget, because I already did forget earlier. Max environment, level 10. Same boat. The environments are a lot better for Pokemon here than other areas, just because this is where I've spent the most amount of time. Despite everything also, I've only registered 271 Pokemon out of the 300 that exist. And Habitat Dex, I only have 181. I don't remember how many there are, but for the fact that it says 209, that probably means that I've got 28 more to identify or create. And of course, I was late to the party of joining this game, so I do have the other habitats not present. Which also means Pokemon like Hoppip, Skiploom, and Jumpluff are also not present. On that note, that is where we're going to leave things off for this episode. I gotta cut it here. I gotta check on the cats. I gotta make myself lunch, because to be honest, the only thing that I've had today is a cup of coffee and a banana. And it's currently almost 2 o'clock, and I am actually kind of famished. We'll see you guys in the next episode.